With that, I request Pankaj Satija, who works with Tata, an expert in the mining. Even though he works with Tata, I think the entire sector of mining taps on him. That has been my experience. Anything on mining, if you want to cross-check, he's the contact point. And you will get the right thing. Theory-wise, he's thorough. Practice-wise, he's thorough. And futuristic-wise, he's equally thorough. Over to you, Pankaj. Yeah, please.
Good morning, Aruna ma'am, Amarendra, Prakash sahab, Charan Singh sahab, all my colleagues, friends. जरा नवाजी के लिए शुक्रिया, जितना उन्होंने कहा मैं उसका हकदार नहीं हूँ, but still I was introduced as a storyteller, so I'll start with story also. And the story goes for Budhni. Many of you might be knowing. It was here in 1959 when the DVC Panchayat Dam was being inaugurated. The then chief guest thought that why I should inaugurate this. The person who has worked on that, the labor who has put his hand on building that dam, he or she should inaugurate. So he called Budhni and asked her to switch on. Exchange of garlands happened, and then she was ostracized from the society, thinking that now she is married to that chief guest. And that was the irony. Why I am bringing that story here, a famous couplet, कि आओ चांद का किरदार निभा लें दोस्तों, दाग अपने पास रखें और रोशनी बांट दें. So the Panchayat Dam gave life to many households, but life of Budhni was in dark. And that brings a very significant aspect of social when we talk about sustainability, 3P, people, planet, profit, or economic, social, and environment. The cultural nuances of that aspect created havoc for a lady who has to live outside the society, lost her job, reinstated after certain intervention. But that was painful. What we do usually, and what is common practice, which I feel that should not be, that social means giving blanket to the people, those who are residing in and around your operation area. A guy who is having 3 acres of land or 4 acres of land with 10 lakh rupees, he or लिहाज में बोलते हैं ना कि रख लेता है आपने blanket दिया तो. But is it justified that 250 or 500 rupees blanket you are giving to a person who is holding a land worth 10 lakh rupees? And is it the social engagement? I mean, so that's why if you see many of the failures, we didn't engage with people, those who were involved in R&R. जिनकी हमने जमीन ली उनको पैसे दे दिए, आगे वो जाने, हमारा काम खत्म, हम ट्रांसफर भी हो गए दूसरे यूनिट में. So इंडिया में ये एक important aspect है. And when we talk about economic development, so economic development and the changes what we see in the society is again, it's a classic picture of prey and predator. So the prey is economic growth and predator is human population. And the prey has to run faster, otherwise the impact of human population and associated environmental issues will cripple it. And you will have so many people who are not having good quality of life. So whatever we see today, high economic growth, fastest growing economy, it's not only for our growth part, it's also needed for our survival, because the kind of youth we are adding every time, every year, if they are not provided a suitable opportunity for job, what will happen to them? And will there be a social peace? समाजी बेबसी ही मक्तल बनाती है, कहीं चंबल बनाती है, कहीं नक्सल बनाती है. So we need to be doubly sure that whatever economic growth we are having, it should be distributed to the people, those who are dependent directly or indirectly with the business operations. So sustainable development is not new. Started somewhere in 70s by Society of Jesuits. 72, there was a very famous book, Limits to Growth. And then Stockholm Conference, Mrs. Gandhi famous speech, environment versus poverty. You can't take care of environment without addressing the poverty. And that still holds today. Then we have Brundtland Commission in 87, intergenerational equity was introduced, that you have to work in such a way that the future generations' interests are not compromised. Rio in 1992, then we have different COP summit, climate change, and COP15 Convention Protocol. For people in the metal and mining industry, we also follow Arthashastra, and Kautilya has rightly said that Kashpashan Dhatunam Kritva Bhavin Sevanam Shraddha Chata Siddho Tas Vishnu Prasad. The cast, wood, Pashan, stone, Dhatu, metal, these are blessings of Lord Vishnu. So they should be used judiciously, meaning resource stewardship. So whatever you are using, it should be utilized in a way. And National Mineral Policy also very aptly focus on zero waste mining, which Mr. Prakash was mentioning, how we should take out maximum for a mine that less and less waste is left. Climate change is not new. It is happening from for so many years. Those who are following the Indian ethos, they know that every kalp is a billion of years. The life changes, the earth changes. And Bhagavad Gita also says, Bhagavan Krishna says that Sarvbhutani Kaunteya Prakriti Yanti Mamikam Kalp Shaipanasthani Kalpado Visajambiham. At the beginning of every kalp, everything comes to me. और जब नई सृष्टि होती है तो everything manifests. What we have done, we have increased the pace. So what we were seeing in 500, 600 years, we are seeing in 20 years. So every time we see a cyclone, Biparjoy in Gujarat or Fani in Odisha. So we are now becoming used to, accustomed to these cyclonic changes. And today, those who are in Delhi, they see the fury of Yamuna. And people, those who are on the roadside with their cattle and goats, that's again one of the impact of this climate change. So while the different framework of ESG and different frameworks for sustainable development has come, I feel two important things which were there in the earlier times, but then somehow we lost the significance out of it. So in a Atharvaved, it is written, Yodhivano Rathakara Karmara Cha Manishina, means that in the time of Vedic period, the metal and the mining industry were treated as manishis, the learned and the wise people. They were given a space in the king court. But in 2013 and 14, we see all the mining and metal people in the Supreme Court fighting for the coal scam and others. So that is the downfall which we have seen. And then we talk in the today's context, corporate governance, how you mind it appropriately, judicially, legally. And these are certain questions which again remains. And Atharvaved Bhumi Sukta also mentions that Satyam Brihat Ritam Mugram Diksha Tapo Brahmajagya Prithvim Dharayanti. That is the 6 type of behaviors which are required you to be sustainable or the earth to be sustainable, which was there in our system, but then we are borrowing from the Western world. And Satyam Brihat means larger truth. As ma'am was mentioning, the truth of NGO, truth of corporate, truth of bureaucrats should be same, should be time tested, should be place tested. Sarokalik ho, sarobhaumik ho. Ritam Ugram is again is the law. Ritam is law, Ugram is stringent. How you are following your law? Locally, regionally, nationally, and the global climate change. Others. Diksha is constant learning. You can't be working in your environment or in your company by graduating from your college. The time is changing very fast. Every time new dimensions are coming. New challenges are coming in terms of climate change. As Mr. Prakash was mentioning that all things are interrelated. Climate change, biodiversity, energy, and water. So there's a famous quote also that if the climate change is the shark, water is its teeth. And the direct and the indirect consequences and the regions of climate change and biodiversity are similar. So कई बार हम लोग कहते हैं कि biodiversity घटती जा रही है. There are not enough number of species. They are dying. I see similar thing happening in humans also. Very often we will see only 2 type of people. One outside the conference doing damage to the climate, one inside the conference talking about climate change and how we can mitigate. So the diversity is still going on a different path. Yagya and others are related to your austerity, how you are using your resources. I feel a greater opportunity coming in terms of just transition, which we all talk about, how we will shift from climate change on thermal power plant and fossil fuels. And just transition is giving opportunity on three aspects. One is on restorative justice. The injustice what we have done in the first phase of industrialization, knowingly or unknowingly, because we were in the path of economic growth. So unknowingly, we might have done something. Just transition will give an opportunity to restore that justice. Distributive justice. Distributive justice is not only people, those who are directly or indirectly employed. You will see in coal mines in Jharkhand, lot of cycle walas taking coal on the bicycle. They are also dependent. So how you distribute, that is also important, and procedural, that while doing so, we should ensure that everything is given as per the process and there is no injustice in the path of climate change. So many things are happening. Climate change is also happening. It's true, you can't deny it. But then I am optimistic that people are also working towards mitigating that. So रात तो वक्त की पाबंद है, ढल जाएगी. देखना है चिरागों का सफर कितना है. Thank you.